Hey there. Today we're going to take a look at Google Forms and in particular an add-on called Flubaroo. So I've created a test form here and you can see it in its live version. Obviously this would be sent out to students to complete and it would make an adjacent spreadsheet, which we've seen before. But what we're going to take a look at in this adjacent spreadsheet is something called Google Add-ons. You'll find it in these file menus at the top. You'll find add-on, and we'll go to get add-on. And the add-on we want is called Flubaroo. And Flubaroo is Flubaroo. And once I found this add-on, I'm just simply going to add that there. It'll bring up another dialog box that asks me if I want to allow it to view these pieces of information. Essentially, these pieces of information are my Google sign-in. So I'm going to accept that. Once I've added it, you'll see that it says I've added Flubaroo, in which I can come and see its options. The main thing that I'm going to use Flubaroo for is to grade my assignment. So once I come in this drop down, I'll go to grade assignment. It'll bring up a dialog box here in a second, and it's going to ask me a series of questions about the form that I've created. It's going to Flubaroo will essentially try to fill in the best it can what it knows about these answers. For example, I asked some questions about the names of the students, and it brings this identifies students in already, which is really nice. That way I don't have to come in and fill that out. I simply just have to check and make sure that these are what I want. Yep, first name identifies the student, last name. Then I can assign points to the other questions. I'm going to make this one worth 1 point, and this one I'm going to grade a little more heavily and go for 2. If you have any questions that are text-based responses, you may want to use the option skip grading, because when Flubaroo looks at those particular answers, it's going to grade them against an example score sheet that you assign here in the following step. And if the student's spelling is off even just by 1 letter, it's going to automatically count that question as wrong. So whenever you use open-ended responses, I always just grade those myself and choose select skip grading. I don't have any questions like that, so I'm going to assign these points. We'll continue to the next step, where it shows a list of all of my pre-filled out scores, or responses rather. You'll want to at least respond to your own form so that you have the correct responses there. I've done that here for this teacher responses. I'll select that, and what Flubaroo will do is grade all the other students' responses against that particular response. So the correct answers are there. It's going to check its answers against those correct answers. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that one. So you'll have to each time fill out your own form at least 1 time, or have a student that fills it out perfectly. Once I've created or made that selection, I can go ahead and view my grades, and as you saw, that only took 30 seconds to do. And I can see immediately in this new spreadsheet called grades how my students have done. So Faker didn't do too well. Bob the Builder, Polly Pocket, and Burt Macklin all did really, really well. And Tom Haverford knew that first question, but not so much on the second question. Gives me grades by question and a class breakdown for who answered that question correctly. And then it gives me overall scores, overall points. That's really nice because I can take those and transfer those into my Sapphire gradebook. But another nice feature in Flubaroo, if I come back up to the add-ons menu and go to Flubaroo, if I have students that fill out the form, let's say the next day, I can come in here and regrade the assignment because it won't automatically grade their assignment. But let's say I didn't have that situation. I just simply want to give this feedback to the students. So if I have in the form the students fill out their email address as one of the questions, first name, last name, email, I can hit email grades, and Flubaroo will automatically populate the student's email in this drop down menu as it'll say email. and you'll be able to choose that in the selection, and it will automatically email each student their own results for how they did on the quiz, um, right from this spreadsheet, instead of you having to do it for yourself individually. I can include a message here. I can include the answer key, as you can see. So that's Flubaroo in a nutshell, and a really easy way to grade your quizzes on Google Forms. Thanks for watching, and make sure you ask if you have any questions.